Medicaid Expansion Reform. All right, now the reform, it is literally titled Reform, and it has 11 things that we would have to apply for as far as waivers, right? One of which, in order to keep Medicaid expansion in the state of Idaho, we have to go to federal courts in other states and get those federal courts to repeal or reverse their decisions based on transgender care under Medicaid expansion. Now, listen to me. I don't know if you're a really important person. I definitely am not. So the idea that I could go to Arkansas and go meet with some federal judge and say, hey, Arkansas federal judge, you made this ruling 2 years ago on transgender medications or whatnot being covered under Medicaid expansion. I'm going to have to go ahead and need you to go ahead and reverse that. Or we will lose Medicaid expansion in the state of Idaho. So the misrepresentation, and again, if people want to repeal Medicaid expansion in Idaho, that's I'm not against it. What I am saying is, hey, you're calling this a reform bill. This is clearly a repeal bill unless I can fly a unicorn to the moon and back while it's farting rainbows. These 11 things are near impossible to do, yet you're calling it reform. The work requirement, right? We have this work, they're we should have a work requirement. It's yeah, I like the idea of people working to get stuff. That makes sense to me. We applied for a work requirement waiver in 2019 when Trump was in office. They could grant it to us today. They didn't grant it to us then. They're not granting it to us today. Georgia is the only state that got a work requirement waiver, and that's because they have other things in place that are not represented in Idaho. So it's okay, you're saying all we need to do is get them to, grant this work requirement. Doesn't that make sense? Yeah, that makes sense. You already asked. They already said no. Trump was already in office. The fact that Trump just got reelected, President Trump is reelected, is going to change nothing. He could have done it then. So again, I agree with you. Misrepresentation is a problem. But it seems like the knife cuts both ways.
It does cut both ways.
We have misrepresentation all throughout our legislative process. What do we do about that collectively as people? Because words matter.